Spark, set phasers on Innovate.
Welcome to Phasers on Innovate. I'm Jeff Douglas with Appear Topcoder, and today's topic is Amazon's new service, Amazon Lambda. Lambda is an event-driven compute service for dynamic applications that allows you to execute a chunk of code in response to some event, such as an update in DynamoDB, a modified object in an S3 bucket, or maybe even a custom event received from another application. So here's a scenario for our demo. So what was going to happen is that a member on Topcoder is going to upload their code to S3. That's going to trigger an event for Amazon Lambda, take that person's code from S3 and push it over to a GitHub repo. Now, Lambda has a really cool feature where you can test things out through the console using JSON, so I've already actually put this file up on S3, so we don't have to actually upload it. So this is the file we're going to take from S3, and we're going to push it over into this repo right here. Make sure this is still empty. Yes, this is empty right here. Okay, so like I said, we're going to simulate that, taking this index.js file through this Lambda function and pushing it over onto the repo. So the code actually is fairly straightforward. So here's the direct we have here. So I've got a config.json, which has my connection information for AWS. So it's got my access key and SID and all that good stuff. And the secrets file, it just exports my password for GitHub. That's all it has in there. So the most very basic form of a Lambda function looks like this. You declare, it exports a handler, and this function has an event and a context that it runs in. I just put some console logout right here. And then last thing it does, it always ends up by executing the callback, and it passes either null, the error, and then some optional message. So that's the very basic skeleton of a Lambda function. So here's what we're going to use. So this is very similar. We got our handler function, passes in an event and a context. We're going to load up our configuration for AWS so we can get access to that file in S3. We're going to have some variables for some of the code that we called throughout the async calls to get the data. And then here's the bucket. So the bucket comes down from the event record, and part of that JSON is a record and the S3 bucket name and the file name. So that tells us which file in which bucket was just changed on S3. And then here's our GitHub information. Here's my username and the secret password right here, and the repo we're going to commit to, and then my commit message. And we just set up the APIs for S3 and GitHub. We go ahead and authenticate, and then we start processing this event. So first thing we do is we go ahead and call S3, get that object from that bucket, and we get the code out of there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start committing our data to GitHub. So we're going to first get a reference to the master branch of the repo. We call it get master branch. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a tree with our new code. So we're going to push this file, the file names that came down on the JSON from the Lambda function, and we're going to get the code that we got at S3. We're going to push that to an array of files. We're going to add that to this tree, create that tree, and then we're going to go ahead and create a commit with all that data. So we got a reference to that new tree that we just had. That's commit. And then after we got that commit done, we're going to actually update the reference so that points to the new commit, and then we're done. It's going to pass back this context.done with either an error message or a successful information. So what we're going to now is we're going to actually walk through this on the Lambda console. So we're going to actually zip up these files. Now this file, we don't need this. This is just the index.js that we're going to actually be pushing over to it. So that's what this file looks like. That's sitting on S3 right here, just for reference. So let's hop over into Finder here. We're going to just actually zip up these files right here. So we have async and GitHub. We don't need the AWS SDK. As you can see right here, we have a reference to the AWS SDK. That's not needed because that's already pre-installed on Lambda. So we don't have to worry about that. So let's go ahead and compress this. And now we're going to hop over here into the Lambda console and create our new function. So all right, here's a preview page. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is going to give it a name. So let's say GitHub. We'll just call pusher1 and description. And you can either edit things in line, but we're going to actually upload a zip file. So we're going to get that zip file, upload the one we just created here. And we're going to say that's going to run the name of the file there. It's going to use it for the Lambda function is index.js. The handler's name is handler. And we're going to reference a role I've already set up. And we're going to say 128 is fine for memory. We're going to put 10 seconds here. And then we're going to go ahead and create this Lambda function. All right, so now with that done, we got this little test page here. Congratulations, you created your Lambda function. Now we can go ahead and we can test this. So like I said, it's got a nice little inline editor that you can use for testing. You can use S3 put, you can use the database for DynamoDB, or you can use a custom event. We're going to use this S3 put event. So we're going to have to make a few changes here to use what we just uploaded. So we're going to use, we're going to get the bucket that we're using. Here's my bucket name right here. I'm not big on typing. I like to copy and paste a lot. And then we're going to do index.js. All right, so now we've got the JSON that comes back from the simulated S3 put event. It's got the right bucket name in there, and it's got the right key for the file name. And now we're going to go over and actually execute that. So we've got our file name in here, the handler, the role, everything's good here. Let me just check to make sure you have 10 milliseconds, 10 seconds. And then we're going to go ahead and invoke this, and you're going to see the results right here. And if you want to, you can also click the CloudWatch link right here and watch it in CloudWatch as well. So let's go ahead and invoke that. It takes a couple seconds longer the first time you actually run it. All right, so you can see we got our code from S3, we got the reference, create the tree, the commit, the reference, and then the code is successfully pushed to GitHub. Now we should go back here. We should be able to refresh this and see our new code. All right, there's our new code. There's our new commit, and there's our new code. So there you go. So that's how easy it is to actually use AWS Lambda